So John Kogo at discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. And what we're going to do today is something I've never done on the Discount Juicers channel, or ever actually in life. So at Discount Juicers, we get many requests all the time. Each and every day I get flooded with all kind of emails asking me all kind of questions about this juicer, that juicer. John, what is the best juicer for wheatgrass? What's the best juicer for juicing oranges? How about pomegranates? This, that. You know, what's the best juicer for the highest nutrition if I'm going on the Gerson therapy? And I have videos about all these topics. But I got an inquiry the other day that I actually don't have a video on yet. So a guy wrote me an email and he said, John, what's the best juicer for people that are blind? And I thought about that for a second. It's like, you could juice if you're blind? I'm like, yeah, wow, that's something I never thought of before. So I guess he said that he's currently using a Jack LaLanne juicer to juice, and he's blind and he's able to do that. So he wanted to upgrade to a slow juicer. So he asked me, John, what's the best slow juicer for juicing if you're blind? I thought about that for a second, and my brain started spinning and like, okay, could we use a Green Star Elite? No, man, that's like really hard to clean. There's too many nooks and crannies to get in there to clean, and it's gonna be a little bit difficult. And like the Champion, that's not a slow juicer. About maybe like a horizontal single auger. Well, that's pretty good on leafy greens and carrots, but like on fruits, it's gonna back up, and then you won't be able to see that it's actually backing up to take appropriate measures. And I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe we got to do a vertical juicer. And a lot of vertical juicers, they got little dots and things. You got to like line up to put the screen in there properly. And if you can't see the dots, you know, it's gonna be significantly more difficult to put it together. So I thought, well, how about my favorite juicer? This is my current favorite juicer. This is the one both me and my girlfriend use regularly, because I just find, and she finds, that it works better than the other ones we've tested and used. And so I said, well, hey, how about the VSJ843? You know, there's only like one dot you're supposed to line up, but even if you don't line up the dot, you can do it without lining up the dot. And it's really simple. And the other thing about the VSJ is, you know, it produces, less pulp in the juice compared to other vertical single auger juicers. Now it's still going to make more pulp in the juice than a Jack LaLanne juicer, but less pulp than other vertical juicers. Plus, it doesn't tend to get jammed up and backed up like many other vertical auger juicers do. That being said, there are some specific things you will need to do in the VSJ if you're juicing larger quantities to get the best results. So I'll post a link down below this video to that video. It's entitled How to Use and Clean the VSJ Juicer. And that's where I go into, the specific techniques, to maximize and the juicing process in the VSJ. And mainly that has to do with like pre-cutting some of the produce and then alternate feeding, which I will be doing in this video. So yeah, there's several reasons why I like the VSJ for juicing if you're not able to see. I guess the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and get blindfolded, and I'm going to go ahead and juice blindfolded. Now, I do not recommend you guys do this for fun or if you get drunk or anything like that. But, I'm just doing this to show that, me knowing the juicer intimately, because I use it every day for the last couple years, I'm able to use it with no sight by touch and feel. And, most people, even if they don't know this, once they start using it all the time, they should also be able to do this. Not that I'm recommending do this, because you should always be able to see what's going on in the juicer and be safe, because the juicer is an electrical appliance with a motor, and anything like that, you will want to have your full senses, or as many of your senses as you are able. So without further ado, let's go ahead, and I got my mask here, so we're going to go ahead and put this on, and I'm going to do the rest of this video blindfolded. Alright, so pretty much I can't see, so this video might look a little bit weird, but we're going to go over and disassemble and then reassemble the VSJ843. This is the VSJ843. I like the square model. That's the one we're using. It has the controls on the front, so it's a little bit easier to manage. I could easily feel it. We're going to go ahead and take off this whole top housing that comes off, and we could easily disassemble this. So basically this top goes on, you're just going to turn it, and then it comes off, as you guys can see. We're going to set that right there. And then we're going to go ahead and take out the parts inside this, the bowl here. Let me wiggle it out, and I'm using my finger on the bottom to push up the auger to get this whole assembly out. And as you guys can see here, we have the wiping blade, the screen, and the auger inside here. We'll take out the auger first, put that down. Then we're going to go ahead and get in here and push out the screen and the wiping blade. And then finally we have the main bowl here. Now the thing on the bowl, there's a few moving parts on here. One is this guy. It's the spout cap. So I only recommend you guys use this spout cap once you're done juicing so that you don't get drips on your counter. Some people encourage, and some companies encourage using this closed to mix your juices in the juicer. I do not recommend that. Based on my experience, your yield will go down because if your pulp is soaking in the juice running around in there, the pulp's going to come out a bit more wet. So I like to just leave it open. The other moving part on here that you will have to deal with is this flap on the bottom. So there's a little pulp flap here. We could unplug it. And as you guys can see, it's a little flap. This flap's job is to go in this little hole there, and it basically puts back pressure so that the pulp cannot immediately eject out of the machine after it's been ground up, so you get a higher yield. So even me not looking at it, I could feel this, and I could feel the little hole it goes into, like right here. And I could just kind of like wiggle it in there, and then it just goes in the hole. Then you're going to want to make sure you press it in firmly all the way, and then I can take my fingernail ridge and feel that it's all the way flush up in there. We should be good to go. The next thing is to reassemble the machine. So we're going to go ahead and take this. We're going to take the spout, which is right here, and that faces the front. So on this machine, the square design, you could feel the ridge here, and that's the front. On the round machine, it's a bit more difficult, so that's why I recommend the square one. You're going to go ahead and put it down there, and then basically if you don't get it right, it's not going to seat. So now if we rotate it, it fully seats. You kind of hear that a little bit. Next, we're going to take the other parts. Let's see. First, we're going to take the wiping blade assembly. Then we're going to take the screen. We're going to put the screen right through there, and I like to hold it like this. And as I push back the screen, it's going to kind of lock into place. If you guys see the side shot on that, you can see it go all the way back in. So the screen is lower, and the wiping blade assembly is a little bit higher. Then, unlike other juicers, this does not have any dots to line up. You simply just take this into the bowl, you drop it in there, and then you just spin it around until it drops down maybe like a 1/4 inch, and then it's all seated in there. So that's good. So next we'll take the auger. Now the auger has wing tips on here. This is the wing tip here on this side, and if you feel very carefully, you know, on the screen and that wiping blade assembly, there's little indentations. There's a cutout, one on this side and there's one on this side. So they're like here and here. So we're going to take the auger on the wing tips and try to go right down in the middle. And we're going to spin that around a little bit. And we're going to try to put it right down where they go, and then the auger seats down in there. So that's no problem. And let's see here. Okay, so we got the last part. This is the top of the juicer. But we're going, I think we're backwards right here. This has the little hole. The little hole here lines up at the top of the motor shaft here. So we got that flipped over. Now always you're going to want to have the pushing feed chute, you know, nearest you. And then this kind of goes, you know, basically almost like that. So it's like diagonal towards you. And then you're going to turn it a little bit until it drops down. It drops down, and then you're going to want to turn it to lock, and it'll kind of lock into place. And if you take your finger, there's an indentation on the top of the motor body here with a little arrow. And then if you move your finger over onto the top of the juicer housing, there's also a little indentation for the arrow, so you could feel that those two line up. And if you did assemble it correctly, you should turn on as it's turning on now. The only thing you want to make sure next before you juice is you want to make sure your container is in place. So the larger container is for catching the pulp. That goes into the pulp spout, so we could easily feel or where the pulp spout is, which is right here. And we're going to make sure that this catch container, the stuff that comes out, goes right in the catch container. More important than the catch container, because getting pulp over your counter is not a big deal, but you don't want to get juice running down your counter or your chin. So we got the juice catch container. We're going to take the juice catch container. We got the spout here coming out, so we're going to make sure that this is open and that when the juice comes out the spout, it goes right in the container. I'm going to make sure it's kind of centered up. I think that's pretty much close. And then now we just need to juice our vegetables. So here we have the vegetables pre-prepared. Some of the things, such as the yellow carrots we're juicing today, all I did was I cut off the tops and the bottoms, and of course I washed them. Some things like the cucumber, all you really need to do is to cut them in half lengthwise. Something like the kale over here, we have a red kale. I would recommend pre-cutting into pieces. I'm not doing that today because I'm only juicing 3 pieces, so that's not really a big deal. But if you're juicing like a whole head kale, you should cut that up into pieces. And then let's see what else we got in here. Oh, we got these guys here. We got some celery. Once again, this should optimally be cut up into pieces, but I did not cut it up today, and I'll show you a technique for feeding them so they juice easier without cutting. Then let's see here. Oh, and then I got right here, I think this is soft. These are pears cut up into smaller pieces. And then somewhere down in here, I have, if I could find it, I think these guys, they're hard. They're beets. So we're juicing beets, pears, celery, cucumber, and some carrots, and some kale. All right, so next step is let's get juicing. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this juicer on, and we're gonna put one thing in at a time. So generally I like to start off with the softest thing first, so we're gonna go ahead and try to grab one of these pieces of pear, and it's gonna just drop right in. Another reason why I recommend the VSJ843 for people that are not able to see is because you literally drop the produce in and it takes it in and it just kicks it out. You don't have to sit there using a pusher. Here's we'll drop a carrot in there. Look at that. It's taking the carrot and it's sucking it in. You can hear it grind up each piece, and it's kicking out the pulp over on this side, which we're going to feel for. We're going to make sure our bin's lined up, and hopefully very carefully check out our bin and check out to make sure that some juice is dribbling out, which I do feel on my finger there. So now all we want to do is we want to rotate the produce we're putting in the machine here. Next we're going to go ahead and put a leafy green in with a hard stem end down. Well, we're not going to just shove it in there, right? We're going to stick it in and let the machine take a little bite off and then pull it up, right? Stick it in and pull it up. Stick it in and pull it up. This way the machine only gets little bites of the stem, and the stem is the part that's most likely to clog the machine. You know, once you get a lot of the stem, juiced and pulled up, you can see I got a lot of the stem chewed off there. Next, you can then take that and put it in, and then maybe like take a carrot, and I like to use the carrot to like just kind of like get it pushed in there. I don't use it to like jam down in there, because if you're using the pusher on a VSJ, or in my opinion any other vertical juicer, you know, you're probably feeding in things too fast. This is one of the reasons why you may get backups and clogs. So especially, you know, if you're not able to see what you're doing, you want to take your time, you know, doing it. So I fed in just one bite of the carrot instead of the whole thing to have it self-feed. Everything sounds like it's going all right. You always want to check your pulp over on this end and make sure that it's ever so slowly ejecting out. Next, let's go ahead and drop in a piece of pear. Let's see if I can find the hole. Then next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a cucumber, and we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. And you guys could see or hear that it's actually kind of self-feeding in there, so that's really nice. Next, we're going to go ahead and take some celery. And the celery, special case, you know, I do recommend pre-cutting it into small pieces if you're able. If you're not, then you're going to want to do it like this. You're going to want to go ahead and, once again, stick it in and let it take a chunk off and pull it out. Stick it in, let it take a chunk off, pull it out. And you're going to want to only let the chunks that you're sticking in maybe like 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch at the max. You don't want to try to like jam it in there and have it take off a bigger piece. You just want it to pull off a small piece each time. This is one way you can get away from pre-cutting your produce in the vertical juicers. Next, let's see if we could find my bowl here. We're going to go ahead and drop in another piece of pear. And then also, since we haven't done it yet, oh, this is another piece of pear. I'm trying to find a piece of beet. Oh, here's a piece of beet, I think. Drop that guy in there. Now you should be able to hear it, accept the beet and juice it on up. And if you're not, maybe you got something stuck up in the feed chute. So we're going to go ahead and find a carrot here, and we're just going to go ahead and push that down a little bit to feed it in. Next, let's go ahead and take another piece of kale, and once again, we got the stem end down. Stick it in, pull it up. Stick it in, pull it up. I'm going to go ahead and juice the rest of this stuff because I think I gave you the general overview, without being able to see it, and we'll come back at you when I'm done. things I want to let you guys know is you want to always rotate your produce. So don't just put all the carrots in and then all the celery and then all the cucumbers. I'm trying to rotate the texture, so always follow something by the carrot or the celery, which tends to help push the pulp to come out this side easier. You know, especially if you're juicing like lots of cucumbers and apples, you know, it's good to rotate in some you know, something hard like celery or the cutes. Let me go ahead and get back to juicing. This is going pretty well, and I think I'm almost done. I think I got a couple carrots left and that is some celery. Well, our juice is kind of getting near the top. We don't want to overflow our juice container. I think we have about like, what, 2 more carrots. Oh! And if you drop the carrots in, what's going to happen is what just happened. You could hear the machine buzzing, and when that happens, it got overloaded. So you're going to turn it off momentarily, hit the reverse switch for a second, and then go ahead and hit the board. And that's because I just dropped the carrot in instead of doing my technique, instead of inserting and pulling out. Inserting and pulling out a little bit at a time. Once you get down to a thinner diameter of the carrot that you can easily feel, you know, then you could drop it in more than likely. The problem is when you have a really thick diameter, that generally gets clogged up. Alright, I think we still got room in our catch container there. And it looks like this is the last carrot. I don't think we have anything left in there in the bowl. So that's definitely good. Now we're going to go ahead and let this run. This is very important to listen to the machine and also feel the pulp coming out very carefully. And also maybe feel to see if any juice is still dripping out. You don't want to take the machine apart until it's done juicing, which sometimes can be maybe like 30 seconds after, you know, you're done. I can still feel juice dripping out, and I can still, let's see here, we can clear this pulp path and we can see if something still is coming out or not. It's coming out ever so slowly. We're going to go ahead and let that run maybe another 15 seconds or so. Make sure everything all comes out. Let's see, okay, I think pretty much things stopped coming out, and the juice on the front side, I don't feel anything dripping. We're going to go ahead and turn this off and put the spout cap down. Now, the last thing I want to do is explain cleaning, you know, if you're not able to see. Basically, you got to disassemble the machine pretty much the opposite way of assembly. Oh, looks, I forgot a piece of kale leaf there. Basically all you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take the top piece, grab onto the main chute here, turn it to the right, that comes up. You should be able to, you know, there's a special cleaning brush that's included with the machine. You could get in there and clean all this. I usually just run under the running water. It's easier to do it under the sink, and it kind of blasts away the juice particles. You can put that aside and we'll put it in the bowl there. Next, you're going to want to take the auger, which you could just get your fingers underneath the auger and then pull up. And as you guys can see, this auger should be fairly clean of produce. I mean, I could feel a little bit on there, but this is another reason why I'm recommending this juicer for people that aren't able to see, because it's pretty easy to clean. Now, you could brush this down, run it under hot water. That should pretty much dislodge most of the pulp off there. I'm not really feeling much on here. The challenge is you're going to have to flip it up into the underside, and then you can take your finger, and as you guys can see, the finger comes out, and then there's a bunch of pulp in there, so we're going to go ahead and put that in there. And once again, just rinsing this out in the sink, you should be golden. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull out the screen and wiping blade assembly. I pop up the screen there. Now, the screen is the most challenging part to clean on any juicer, and especially if you're not able to see. Normally, if you were able to see, you'd be able to see that there's like all these holes in the juicer, and you want to dislodge the pulp from all the holes. Luckily, they do give you a special cleaning brush. It looks like an oversized toothbrush. You're going to want to rinse this underneath the sink and scrub this meticulously, you know, at least 2 minutes, going all the way around the screen on both sides, the outside bottom, outside top, and then the inside, you know, brushing it this direction or any direction you can get in there to dislodge all the pulp. This is probably the major issue I see with not being able to see and having to clean your juicing screen, so that you can't get the visual feedback that there's pulp in there. Unless you're really sensitive on the feeling, I don't know how it'd be, you know, how you'd feel the pulp in those little small holes. So yeah, that's the most challenging. But this is going to happen on any juicer, right? Even if you're using a Jack LaLanne. There's even more screen area on a Jack LaLanne or a high-speed centrifugal ejection juicer then on the Omega VSJ to clean out, and then maybe have a friend who comes over and visits once in a while. Just double check your work to make sure the holes are clean. If some of the holes start to get blocked, you're going to notice a minimized yields happening and maybe even more pulp in the juice. So yeah, you're going to want to check that, and we'll go ahead and put that in the bowl there for cleaning for later. Next, you're going to go on ahead and clean the wiping blade. This should have a little pulp around it and residues, but once again, this easily wipes off with the cleaning brush under the running water of the sink. I like to use the spray nozzle in the sink that's doing the high pressure thing instead of just the stream, if your guys' sink has that. And then finally, we have the main juicing bowl. Some juice may drip out on you a little bit. Let's see if there's any in there. No, it's pretty clean. When you do that, you will want to take your your finger on the juice port, or the pulp port, and just kind of do a wipe in there, and you get this pulp out. And let's see if we could get that in the pulp in. I think I have a pretty good sense of where things are. And then over on the juice spout, of course, juice is going to drip out when you open that, so do that over the sink. And then the only other thing in the challenge on here is once you're done juicing, you're going to want to pull this little lever here to get out this pulp flap. So this pulp flap should always stay pushed in when you're juicing. The only time you're going to want to take it out is actually for cleaning. So what I like to do is I like to blast the hot water on and blast it down this spout here, which will force the pulp to come out this direction here. And I'll put the hot water down in here, that'll force it to come out this way. In addition, I'll use the back of the cleaning brush tool, which looks like a plastic screwdriver, to get in there to dislodge all the pulp. That's going to be probably the biggest pulp blockage that you're going to have to clean, if you're not able to see. And you may be able to get your finger in there, like I feel there's pulp in there now with my little pinky finger, but depending on how big or small your pinky is, you may or may not be able to get it in there. And then once again, cleaning all this out, and you can pretty much feel if it's clean or not when you're doing it under the sink. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's how it is to clean the juicer. Oops. And do it without being able to see. Now the last thing I want to do, let's see if I could do this. This is going to be even more challenging. I don't know. Oh, I got to do it from over here. Okay, we got our glass. And now we got our juice that we just made. And now, hopefully I'm doing this right. We're going to pour it in the glass, and I'm going to enjoy. Amazing. Now you too can juice even if you can't see with the Omega VSJ843. This is a juicer I recommend for people that are not able to see, because it is so easy to use, as you guys saw me do. Now I have been using this for over a year now, every day with being able to see. So me being able to do it without seeing is not that difficult. But I know once you get it and you start playing with it and you start doing it, you'll be able to get more fruit and fresh fruits and vegetables in you. Fresh fruits and vegetables have the most powerful phytonutrients and phytochemicals. These are the things that prevent disease according to the scientific literature, and what most Americans lack. And so that's why I encourage you guys to drink and eat more fruits and vegetables, and the juicer is the #1 way to maximize your consumption of the most powerful foods on the entire planet. And every different fruit and vegetable has their own plethora of phytonutrients and phytochemicals that are good for different things. So juice it all, and don't ever get stuck into juicing this green juice recipe every morning. Always juice a variety of whatever produce that you could grow fresh in your garden, or you could get fresh at a local farmer's market. And if you can't do that, then buy it at your local health food store and buy organic produce whenever you can. But even if you don't get organic produce, even if you just get conventional produce, that's better. Juicing conventional produce is better than not juicing at all, and conventional produce is still way better in my opinion than eating processed, packaged, canned organic foods, because you cannot put a price on the nutrition contained in fruits and vegetables, and even the government tells us this. If you guys enjoyed this video today, hey, please support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com, because simply You know, like other companies are not going to go to the lengths that I go to so that everybody in the world could juice. Because that's all I want. Juicing has helped me save my life. This is why I'm still here today. And I know it can make a difference in your life. Whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to get healthier, whether you want to have more energy, whether you're trying to fight off some kind of disease condition in your body, juicing is the first thing that I would do. And now you can do it even if you can't see. So yeah, support me in my work. I'm making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. Your purchase allows me to continue to make videos like this to educate people about juicing. So I thank you guys that have supported me in the past. And I thank you guys that are going to support me in the future. Also be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 450 episodes now comparing the different juicers to one another so that you guys could choose the right juicer for you. And you know, everybody has a certain criteria, and if you can't see, then this is probably the machine I'd recommend. But if you have other criteria, like you want to juice greens really well, we'll have videos that show that as well. Also be sure to click that subscribe button down below because you never know what kind of video I'm going to make. Neither do I. To be notified by new and upcoming episodes that I have coming out about every 5 to 7 days. And also be sure to like this video if you like this format. I will continue to do more videos in the future on a wide range of topics. And the like on here will encourage me to do just that. So once again, I thank you guys for watching this video. Thanks for staying to the end. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And once again, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. You caught me. I'm just making my fresh carrot juice in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer today. And the reason for this episode is a very important one. It's because I want to explain to you guys that there is more in the fresh made juice than just the fiber.